Joining us now is Dan Geltrude, who is the CPA and business analyst at Geltrude and Company, LLC. Dan, great to have you here with us today. We got to know, what do you think of the progress that's been made between Trump and Xi Jinping?
You know, I didn't have a lot of great expectations when it came to what would come out of the G20. So I'm very pleased by the progress that we see that's been made between Presidents Trump and Xi regarding trade. Look, the stakes are extraordinarily high here, and neither side, quite frankly, is going to benefit from the threats of escalating tariffs. So the fact that right now the two presidents have called for a ceasefire in the trade war, I think is tremendous progress. I think the markets are indicating that. So right now, all the signs are positive, and I think everybody should be in a pretty good mood about this right now.
Well, Dan, what about 90 days from now? How are we going to feel then? Because this is just a temporary hold on any possible increases.
Right. So what we have right now is that the U.S. said that they're going to delay increasing any tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods to 25% from 10% for the next 3 months or 90 days. And look, here's what the big issues are. Is going to be the theft in technology. In addition, we have to look for the barriers that have been put in place against U.S. access to Chinese markets, cyber espionage, intellectual property protection. All of these things are really what the big items are, because look, no one wants to have a trade war. These tariffs are not good for anyone, and China realizes that they cannot win a war of attrition economically against the United States. So they must come to the table and negotiate here. So I think these big items that we're talking about related to intellectual property theft, that is really going to be the telltale sign whether we're going to be able to get a true deal inked or close to it within the next 90 days.
Autos, Trump tweeting about that earlier on the day, saying the 40% that is going to be coming off the table here. What do the auto and the auto sector have to look forward to after the trade deal kind of reaches a formal agreement, if you will?
Yeah, there's no question about that. There's going to be some industries that are going to have a pretty good windfall to see these tariffs go down substantially, or perhaps, best of all, disappear altogether. And that's the automobile industry as well as agriculture. So I think if we're going to see these tariffs dropping, there is definitely going to be a benefit to U.S. automakers, simply because we're going to be able to compete globally. And look, what the president wants here is a level playing field. I think that's all we all want to have happen, so that U.S. companies can compete against foreign competitors, and may the best country win, and that's how it should be.
Right, and again, markets today reacting pretty positively. How much longer can this optimism last? Again, as the clock starts ticking now down from 90 days to 89 to 88.
I think, look, there is no reason not to think that a bull market is going to continue here. Even though when the clock is ticking down, I really believe that we're going to get some type of deal here, because both countries want to make a deal. Look, I think it comes down to this. As long as the deal will allow China, quite frankly, to save face on the international stage, I think it'll work out just fine. We have to try to make sure, if it's possible, that President Trump is not going to take an early victory lap, in effect, kind of making fun of China or putting China in a position where it appears that they've lost. We have to have mutual winners here, and that's what it's all about. And I think if we can get to that point, China will make the deal, and certainly President Trump politically and economically wants to make this deal.
Wants to make the deal happen. I guess the big question that I have from my side is the fact that we've watched this take place for so long, the tit-for-tat talks, and then trade tariffs actually coming on the table and being activated, we've lost a little bit more than a quarter, or this has impacted companies for a little bit more than a quarter at this point in time. So how does this put them perhaps out of position as we go into 2019?
Well, if you really look at it, I don't think, based upon the fact that the tariffs have been put in place, that we're seeing any type of real suffering to this point. I think American companies are holding on just fine. It doesn't mean that they're not feeling the pinch, and quite frankly, some American consumers feeling the same way. But overall, it hasn't been a huge impact, and because of that, I think that has emboldened President Trump to negotiate even harder against the Chinese. I mean, look, it was just a week or so ago where he was saying before he got to the G20, you know what? I like the tariffs. It's a good deal for us. We're making money. Let's keep it the way it is. So the fact that he has backed off a little bit is very positive, and I think there's only upside for American companies from here on in. I am actually pretty confident, again, that we're going to get something done here.
All right, Dan Geltrude, who's the CPA and business analyst at Geltrude and Company LLC. Thanks so much, Dan.